Hey guys, how's it going? Just let everybody know that I am still very, very much getting over a cold. I still feel awful. I got some tea right here, and I'm going to continue to sip it as I'm talking. But I really wanted to get this stream out tonight. At some point, I was actually contemplating on not doing it at all. But I was like, I kind of have to because there's still like 3 or 4 more days left of celebration, and I really wanted to cover more particularly this trailer because I've been out a couple times today. I had to run errands, so I was kind of out when the trailer dropped. I wanted to be home. I really did. I actually took vacation so I could be here to do an actual trailer reaction, but I realized that wasn't going to happen because of the trailer drop. I thought it was going to be 11 o'clock. I had to bring my wife to work at 12, and since Chicago's an hour behind, that's kind of when it happened. So I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But, I made best what I did with the selfie stick and trying to do that. And as you can see, if you watch that trailer reaction, did a lot of views, but I was coughing like crazy. I still have like a fever every now and then, like on and off with a fever. That's why I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately because I've been down, man, down. Like I'll feel good for like an hour, next thing you know, just drop dead. So anyway, enough about my health. I don't care about that. I still have 7 more days of vacation to try to get over that. So let's get to this trailer. Watched this trailer a few times today, and just got done rewatching it again right before I went live. And I have to tell you, man, I'm not a big fan of the title. The title. I'm not a big fan of the title because it's like the rise of Skywalker. It's like it's so vague. It's like, what does it mean? Like even you look back at Force Awakens, like the Force awakens. So okay, the Force has been dormant or something, and the Force reawakens. Okay, the Last Jedi, self-explanatory. The Last Jedi. We, of course, people were speculating. Well, who's the Last Jedi? Luke, or Rey? But you still knew what the Last Jedi was. The Rise of Skywalker sounds so weird for a final chapter of a saga, And I was always under the impression I don't understand why Disney limits themselves to a trilogy. Like the original set of films were a trilogy, and then the prequels were a trilogy because the prequels had to be a trilogy because George Lucas went back and said A New Hope is episode 4. So of course the prequels had to be 1, 2, and 3. Had no choice but to be a trilogy. But why did Disney limit themselves to a trilogy? Like, was it have to be a trilogy of a trilogy? I guess that's sort of George Lucas's plan. But if JJ felt like he needed 2 movies to tell the final story, like why limit himself to like episode 9 is it? Like why not do an episode 10 and do it that way? And I found it really weird for say Rise of Skywalker. And so before we get into the whole conversation, let me just tell you I'm a big Star Wars fan, a massive Star Wars fan. Love Star Wars. Like even when I get like kind of depressed or whatever, Star Wars is always my go-to thing that makes me happy. I love reading the novels. I love reading the comic books. I love reading the canon material. I can always find something to analyze and break down. There's always something new I learn from Star Wars every day, and I love Star Wars. And I think a lot of these people, they call themselves Star Wars fans, but they're like, I don't like the Disney stuff. I don't like to like these people that call themselves Star Wars fans. I don't really consider them Star Wars fans, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by that is you have the people like, oh, I'm original purist. Hate the prequels. Prequels, rape my childhood. And then then the sequels come out, the sequel trilogy by Disney, and they're like, oh, these rape my childhood. So each generation has a thing where they brag on these new films, like. So you can never make these people happy is what I feel like. Like when Force Awakens came out, everybody's like, oh, it's just a copy and paste of A New Hope. And then what happens is we get Last Jedi, and it's like, oh, it's completely different than any other Star Wars movie. So you can never get people happy. I look at Star Wars a lot different than other people look at Star Wars. I have certain questions and theories that go into a movie, but I don't hold the movie to my theories and what my expectations is. Like I had theories at the end of Force Awakens that Rey is Luke's daughter, and Rey and Luke is on that planet and he's standing next to a grave, and Kylo Ren and the Knights Ren killed his wife, and so on and so forth. So I had my own theories and stuff like that, but I never went into Episode 8 hating Episode 8 for what they did wrong. I actually go on record saying I love Episode 8. I love Last Jedi. I actually love every Star Wars movie. Some I love more than others. The only one I can honestly say I dislike is Solo. But even with Solo, me disliking Solo, I still have things in it that I like. I love Donald Glover as Lando. There's certain things in that movie I do like, especially like the Darth Maul being, the leader of Crimson Dawn, because it makes so much sense. But even like the Star Wars movies I don't necessarily care that much about, like Phantom Menace, I still have stuff I like in it very much. And you guys can start firing questions in whenever you want. I'm just kind of rambling on here. I really liked Last Jedi. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like, but I found stuff in it that I like. And I try to tell this about people all the time. People are like, that's not my Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, well, it was 30 years since Return of the Jedi. I know people for 5 years are completely different than they were when I first met them. So how are you going to tell me that that's the same Luke Skywalker for 30 years ago? People don't change. I didn't like how Luke threw the lightsaber away. I didn't like that. I didn't like Canto Bight. I didn't like the whole Rose and Finn adventure trip that was basically just a giant waste of time. I didn't like all that. But I still love the movie, because I think out of all the Star Wars movie, besides maybe Empire, and Empire is not my favorite movie. I hate when like these true fans are like, "Oh, Empire is my favorite movie." It's like that's so generic answer. Everybody says that, but I think Last Jedi is really deep, because it's about, like Yoda tries to explain, the whole point of being a teacher is learning from failure and stuff like that. So failure is the greatest tool of all, or greatest teacher of all. You got to learn from your failures. The Jedi learned from their failures, and it cost them their entire Jedi Order. And then Luke, he kind of did the same thing. So it makes sense. You're not gonna sit there and tell me Luke is gonna be the same guy as Return of the Jedi. I don't buy that shit. But so then we get to this trailer, and the one thing that I like the trailer, by the way, let me get that right out of the way. I like this trailer a lot, but it felt like to me, while I was watching this trailer, was that J.J. Abrams was standing in front of a movie screen going like this to Rian Johnson. Like, Rian Johnson, you killed Luke off. This is Rise of the Skywalker. And it feels like they're almost catering to all the people that were bitching about Luke not being the Luke they wanted. It's like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have the title called Rise of the Skywalker. It's gonna all be about Luke and the Skywalker lineage and stuff like that. And I just felt like it was like a big fuck you. It was like, Kylo preaches in The Last Jedi through the entire movie. It's like, let the past die. And in turn, it kind of feels like Kylo and Adam Driver is telling fans, you gotta let the past die. You guys can't keep loving the sequel. Stop with the sequels and the prequels. Look forward. And it felt like Kylo was like, let the past die. Fuck the Sith. Fuck the Jedi. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. So what do we see him do in the trailer? He has a fucking hot glue gun his damn mask back together. It doesn't make any sense for the character. Adam Driver and Kylo Ren had, besides Rey, probably had the biggest character development in Episode 8. And he went from this child who felt like he was betrayed by his master to worshiping Vader, and Snoke saying, look, you're nothing but a fucking child with a mask. And then we see in this trailer, he was a guy who was like, let the past die, to a guy who's now, hot glue gunning his mask back together. I was like, that completely says fuck you to any character development that he had in The Last Jedi. And then we have, the lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, and I don't know why this thing is so iconic now. What makes Luke's lightsaber so fucking iconic all of a sudden? It wasn't iconic in the original trilogy. It was nothing but a MacGuffin. It was Obi-Wan handing the lightsaber, going, "This is your father's lightsaber. You know, he was a Jedi Knight. He wanted you to have it," which we know is false, but he wants you to have it. And then he loses it at the end of Empire, and he makes a new one. So why is this lightsaber so fucking important now? I mean, this fucking lightsaber wasn't even in Episode 1. It wasn't in Return of the Jedi. As far as we know, Anakin had multiple copies of the same lightsaber because he loses it multiple times in Attack of the Clones. He has that same lightsaber, loses it, then constructs another lightsaber that looks like that. You know, he barely had that thing in Attack of the Clones. He had it once, lost it. Obi-Wan gave it back to him. He was like, "This weapon is your life." "Yes, master." And then at the end, he loses it again to the droid factory, and he gets a generic lightsaber until he comes up with it again in Return of the Jedi. So that lightsaber is not even relevant. Why is it so important? You know, I thought it was very poetic with Rian Johnson having the two fight over something that's really, at its core, meaningless. He destroys it. The crystal's destroyed too, which is another thing I'm going to get to. And we see Rey, she kind of band-aids it back up and runs. Why is this so important? This lightsaber is not important. Now, this comes from a guy who owns that lightsaber. I own the replica of that lightsaber. I personally like the look of the lightsaber. But in terms of the Star Wars saga, it's not that important. So why are we holding on to the past? We spent an entire film, 2 hours and 20-something minutes in Last Jedi, saying let go of the past, and now we're coming right back to where it's like, oh, we're going to bring all the nostalgia back. We're bringing Billy D back in the Falcon. We're band-aiding the fucking lightsaber. Kylo Ren is hot glue gunning his mask back up, and it's like just everything that Rian Johnson put together. And look, I knew things were going to get retconned. I knew they were going to redo Rey's parentage. I knew all that. I was cool with that. I even thought they were going to somehow bring Snoke back in some way, because if you read some of the canon novels, there are ways they can do that if they chose to do that. And it just felt like it was like, oh, 8 never happened. We're redoing all this. We're fixing all this shit, and it's kind of crazy. And this, I mean, you know, I understand that they're trying to fix everything from the people that weren't happy with Episode 8. I just think people need to look at these as chapters. Like say you're watching a TV show. Say you're watching Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones or something. You know, some episodes are better than others. You're not going to get a great movie every time. But if you look at the positives in the movie, then you can enjoy the movie much more. Like I'm not a big fan of Solo. It's my least seen Star Wars movie in cinema. I always go see Star Wars so many times in cinema. I only saw Solo twice. And I tried watching it a couple times on Blu-ray. I fall asleep each time. But there's certain things I like about it. And I never go around going, oh, this ruined my childhood. They killed Han Solo, blah, blah. I don't see why people are being so vocal and such dickheads about it. You know what I mean? And I just don't get that. And so we can get into theories. You guys can start posting some stuff, and I can start reading some off and whatnot. But I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on what I felt about the trailer. I like the fact that the Emperor's coming back, but I think that should have been something that was hinted toward in Force Awakens. Now, if you read the novels, like the Chuck Wendig Aftermath novels, you would know that Palpatine had different sanctuaries, things set up all through the galaxies and the Outer Rim and the Unknown Reaches, and he was experimenting with trying to come back. And we know he told Anakin about, have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and how he tried to bring people back and stuff. So that all makes sense, but I just felt like it would have made more sense if it was built up throughout the trilogy. And that really goes on Kathleen Kennedy to not have a plan for the whole trilogy, just one movie after another. It's sort of in school. I don't know if you guys ever did this in school, where you're in a group where one person writes a paragraph and then you got to pass it to your neighbor, and then they had to continue what you wrote in another paragraph, and the story's supposed to make sense. That's sort of like what they did with this trilogy. But again, like I said, I can find stuff to like about it, and I found a lot to like about Episode 8 and Force Awakens. Force Awakens I loved a lot. That was my second most viewed Star Wars movie in cinema. I think I've seen Phantom Menace like close to 20, 21 times. I didn't really count, but that's my estimate. Like I was there every day that summer and watching it, and I've seen Force Awakens 15 times in theaters. I love that movie a lot. You know, I don't know. There's stuff in it, you know. So anyway, you guys start firing a question. I'll start reading some off and answering any questions, you get theories you might have. Just use @RobertStorms and try to keep this to Star Wars as possible. I don't want to go off topic, do Marvel. I know this channel is mostly dedicated to Marvel and comic book properties, but Star Wars is a passion of mine, and we're gonna try to cover that here. So let me see. Let me see if I can find some here. I'm looking. Dashi writes, Robert, I don't know if this was asked. Do you like the title? Sorry, can't send super chat. I'm broke. Hey man, I understand, dude. Just thanks for staying tuned and supporting me. I don't hate the title, but it's a very odd title. I was talking to a friend earlier, and it feels like a weird title just to end the saga with. It's like your last movie is Rise of Skywalker, and you put Palpatine, like you hear Palpatine laughing, like ha 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 ha, and then like title comes out Rise of Skywalker. What? That's completely jarring. Like if you're gonna do like Rise of Skywalker, oh, we got Christopher with a super chat. J.J. Abrams, oh yeah, I do think. I mean, I like J.J. Abrams. I like him a lot. So as long as he doesn't put another Death Star in this movie, I'm gonna be happy. Thank you for the super chat, Chris, man. But I think the way the title was revealed in the trailer, and then have Palpatine laugh and go to black, and then the title says Rise of Skywalker, is like really jarring. You know, am I back? 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 Hopefully I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. Am I back? Am I back? Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. It's weird, man. But as I was saying, you know, wouldn't it make more sense if it was like Palpatine laughing and you know it going Rise of the Dark Side, or the Return of the Emperor, or Return of the Dark Side, or Return of something like that? But I don't understand, like, why do you end the trailer with Palpatine and then the title says Rise of the Skywalker? What? It doesn't make no sense. It's such a jarring title. I don't understand. You know what I mean? It's such a jarring title. Sleazy Dog writes, do you think Rise of the Skywalker can mean a new name of the Jedi? No, I've seen a couple. Again, I haven't been home all that much because I was running errands and stuff, and I haven't been feeling good. But I've seen a couple people theorize that like the Jedi Academy is gonna be like the Skywalker or something in honor of Luke. I don't see that. I can see two things happening. There's three scenarios and theories I have. One, the one I want to happen, the one I think makes more sense, the way JJ was leading us up in Force Awakens, is I think Rey might be Leia and Solo's kid. Just the way Han was looking at her, the way, you know, she hugged Leia in the movie. We see her hug her again in this trailer. I honestly think that she's a Solo, which makes her also Skywalker blood. So that's one thing. Two, maybe in honor of Luke, she takes on the Skywalker name. Or maybe Luke's like, you know, you're a Skywalker, whatever. You know, you might not come from nothing, but you're a Skywalker. Something like that. Or worst case scenario is she's a clone of a Skywalker. Because apparently in the original script, JJ was doing something with cloning and Luke's hand. So I don't know. That's my three theories, but I want to know what you guys think. Canadian Stuart writes with a super chat. I hope they do the Old Republic after this. It'll be a fresh new start, and they have plenty of content. I agree. I think that's what they're gonna do. I definitely think that's why they got Benioff and Weiss, who does Game of Thrones. If you're gonna do Old Republic, do it with the best people you could possibly do, which is Benioff and Weiss. It makes sense. They can go back far enough where they can tell their own story and not have to be worried about. Because I honestly think if Last Jedi was a standalone on the opposite side of the galaxy in a different time frame and it didn't have nostalgia characters, more people would like it. The problem is nostalgia. And I think with them going back to Old Republic, you don't have to worry about people going, oh, that's not my Luke, that's not my. So, yeah, so I definitely think that's where they're going. I would like to see Star Wars go in the direction that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going in, to where and I'm not talking about like 2 movies every year or something like that, but I would still like to see 1 movie a year, and I still want it to be serialized. And what I mean by that is, do the Old Republic movie, the first Benioff and Weiss movie. Find something in that film, and then do a movie with that person. I think the problem with Kathleen Kennedy is she's not a Star Wars fan, and I don't think she understands Star Wars. I think you could do like Star Wars, The Old Republic, Star Wars something, whatever, right? And then like there's a Sith character in that, and then you do another movie the following year, exploring that character. And then, you build like how does Marvel do it, right? Marvel does it. They did single movies, all connecting loosely by like 1 or 2 threads, and then they all team up for Avengers. And then they do 1 or 2, 4 more movies, all single movies that connect loosely, and then they have another Avengers. And they do that, and they repeat, rinse and repeat, and it works so well because it works. And now it's at the point where even if it's like a standalone movie like Captain Marvel, people want to go see how it connects. And I think Star Wars can do that. And I think that's where the big problem was. I think the problem was, especially with Kathleen Kennedy, she doesn't have the vision for that. She did like episode 7, then they did Rogue One, which was great, but Rogue One didn't connect to the new trilogy. It connected to episode 4, and I love Rogue One. But it should have been something that connected to episode 4 or episode 7 or 8. You want to keep putting movies where it's to be continued to bring in the intrigue. The reason why Endgame is going to be so box office shattering is because they've been building it for 22 movies. And it goes forward and forward and forward and progresses the story. And Star Wars isn't that. Star Wars is here, there. Star Wars, I hate to say this, is the equivalent to the DCEU, where they don't know what they're doing. It's like, we're going to do this movie, and then we're going to do this movie, and it doesn't make any sense. We're going to do a Boba Fett movie. We're going to do this movie. It doesn't make any sense. You want to stay within the time frame, map out your movies structurally, and then do that. You can do episode 7 and then have like a nice $50 million to $80 million budget standalone film on, Captain Phasma and how the First Order got out of there and so on and so forth. And you don't have to put all these characters in it. And, it could be like, Poe and them trying to go find another base or whatever. You can do like that. And then the episodic films are the big Avengers films. So, to loosely answer your question, Canadian Stuart, yes, I definitely think it's going to go to the Old Republic after this. It just makes sense. So thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate it. Danny Graham says, have you heard that Rey may be the reincarnation of Anakin, meaning that she was created by the midichlorians like Anakin? Neither had a father. That's possible. There is that theory. That was a theory that was going on right after episode 7, and that would makes sense with the whole title Rise of Skywalker. Yes, she is a reincarnation of Anakin, because they got to explain how that lightsaber connects with her. It's like Maz Kanata says it, that belonged to Luke's father, and then Luke, and now it calls to you, and that's something like, I love Rian Johnson. That's something he just completely did not even expand upon in episode 8. It's like so much was connected. It's like that lightsaber is calling out to you. Why? What's up with the Force vision? There's something important there, and they're not doing it. And at least they didn't do it in episode 8. But so yeah, I just think it's possible. I think that's kind of a far reach though. But it's possible. Maybe the Emperor survives somehow, and he's able to reincarnate Rey, or that doesn't make no sense. What if Rey's the reincarnation of Palpatine? But then why is that lightsaber calling her? So it's just so many odd theories going on. I had a theory. I was coming home. I was talking to Autumn about it, and I was like, what if the Rise of Skywalker means this? What if Luke didn't die? What if Luke, by the end of episode 8, used so much power that he is neither dead nor alive? He's in limbo. What if Luke is somehow trapped by the Force? By using that power to what he did. Because people are like, Luke wasn't that strong. He should have been the strongest Jedi. He was the strongest Jedi. And in order to do what he did in episode 8, to project himself across the entire galaxy, that takes a lot of power. A lot of power, more power than any Jedi. I think maybe what happens if Luke isn't dead? What happens if, Rey gets a vision? She's like, I'm still alive. I need your help. And it comes to where they're trying to save Luke. Either help him pass fully through the Force or bring him back from limbo. I think that might be a possibility. The fact that Luke is still alive and he's in limbo somewhere. And maybe at the same time, while the heroes are trying to do that, because they said in the panel that the heroes are all going to be working together, maybe by the same time, Kylo and the Knights of Ren are trying to resurrect the Emperor. So there's so much going on. There's literally, you can throw any theory out there, and as long as you have some concrete information, you can see where it works. But that's going to come down to how they execute what now. So yeah. Danny Graham writes, do you think Mace Windu could have survived? Yeah, I think he could have survived. At some point, I definitely think he could have survived easily. Whether they ever touch upon that again, let's just say if they ever decide to do like a Mace Windu show where he survived, I wouldn't be surprised. Art Dog writes, this is not a question, it's a comment I want to read. Well, there wasn't any real proof that he died, was there? That's my point exactly. He disappeared, but we've seen Yoda and Obi-Wan disappear, so people automatically assumed he died, but you can easily say, yeah, he died, or he became one with the Force, but maybe for some other reason, the Force rejected him, or he's put in limbo. We don't know. The Force works in very odd ways. No one knows exactly how the Force works. That's why when people were bitching about the whole Force projecting and Force Skype and shit, I'm like, dude, you don't know how the Force works. The Force can work in any different way. So don't sit there and say that. So, yeah. I don't know. So, we got another super chat coming in here from Mr. Spooky Spare, who writes, I wish we could have seen the Emperor in the trailer. Well, we see the Emperor, not in a trailer. They show the trailer. I don't know how many of you guys watched the panel. But they showed the trailer. You had the Emperor's laugh. Then at the end of the trailer, everything cuts to black, and the lights come on the stage, and there's Ian McDiarmid. And then he's like, play the trailer again. Or he said something like, play it again. In the Emperor voice. So we see Ian McDiarmid. And Christian Harloff from Collider Jedi Council has been saying this for 8-9 months. He's been saying, like, look, they're going to bring the Emperor back. They're going to bring the Emperor back because Christian is a smart motherfucker. Christian and Ken, I love watching Collider Jedi Council, guys. If you don't watch Jedi Council, you're a Star Wars fan, you have to watch Jedi Council. It is my go-to show every Thursday. I'm having withdrawals because there wasn't one this Thursday. Rule 2 is fun to watch if you realize that there's two people that don't know anything talking. I mean, they don't know, like, they get so much wrong in their show. I try not to even pay attention to Rule 2. Plus, Mark Fernandez, I think, is a fucking idiot. And Clyder's been going downhill since Campia left. But, Jedi Council, Christian and Ken I love because Ken knows Ken's like me or I'm like Ken, where I love reading all the novels. We get the new Master and Apprentice novel coming out this Tuesday. I can't wait. But he reads all the novels and he sees so there's so much really everybody complains about Disney, right? But there's been so much connective tissue and so much expansion on the lore since Disney took over with the novels and the comic books and stuff. And people are like, well, I don't need to read a novel to find this out. Well, you go back and watch the original trilogy, you didn't know who fucking Emperor was until the prequels, which took place like 20 years later. So I don't want to hear that shit. But I loved reading the books and stuff. And Christian's been calling us, man. Christian's been like, look, they're going to bring Emperor back because they brought him back for Rebels. He's coming up to Celebration, so all this makes sense. And what did they do? Sure enough, they brought him back. And I even said it in my live stream when I was doing my reaction. I'm like, man, Christian was right. They brought him back. And I think it makes a lot of sense, especially when you read like Chuck Wendig's Aftermath trilogy. The Emperor had contingency plans. If you played the Battlefront 2 game on PS2 or Xbox One, they talk about the contingency plan. That game was based on a contingency plan. The whole Battle of Jakku was based on a contingency plan where Palpatine was going to destroy the entire Empire and start a new empire in the Outer Rim, and he wanted the remains of the Empire to go out there. So, because he kept feeling something out there, which I think was Snoke, and I think Snoke might have had a plan and try to resurrect him or something. But the books bring a lot of detail to the story, and if you guys don't have time to read, sign up for Audible. You get a free book just for signing up, and like a lot of times I don't have time to read like these 400-page novels. I try to read them all, but sometimes I'll go to work and I'll just put in a headset and listen through a book. I just got done reading Queen's Shadow by E.K. Johnson, which is takes place after Phantom Menace, and I love that novel. It's a great novel. You learn so much about Captain Panaka, Padme, Sabe, all those, and it really expands the lore. So let me get back here. We'll see what we got here, guys. If you got questions, be sure to use the tag at RobertStorms84 so I can easily pick out the questions. Sleazy Dog writes, thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order game. I'm not gonna comment on that until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Fallen Order panel, so I'm going to be doing a live. This is my plan. My plan, I would love to live stream the entire panel. But if not, I would definitely do a trailer reaction. I would do something to it. If I want to live stream the panel, I'm afraid I'm going to get like some kind of copyright strike or a ban or something. But I would definitely either react to it. I'm covering all Celebration. I might, depending if I feel any better tomorrow, I might get in front of the green screen and try to do like a professional breakdown of stuff, so I can get my media pass next year. I got my media pass for Celebration in 2017, but I didn't apply this year because I didn't think I was going to get the days off. But yeah, so I had no thoughts on it until I can see what EA is going to do, because I liked Battlefront 2's campaign, but I think the game itself, like the online stuff, was a mess. But I do definitely like the campaign. The story team did a fantastic with Battlefront 2 storyline. But yeah, so that's all I got on that one. Let me scroll up and see if I have any questions. I don't see any questions coming in. Supreme Emperor writes, Return of the Dark Side would be a good title. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too, man. I think that would have been an excellent title. It just seems really odd and jarring to show the Emperor's voice, and then it goes, what is it? The Rise of Skywalker. It's such a weird title. Elrod writes, what do you think if Luke and the Emperor square off in one last fight? I don't know. I mean, would I be up for it? As long as it's told right, yes. But like I said, we don't know anything about this movie at all. Like, we see images, but these images are completely taken out of context. It wasn't like Last Jedi, where the title Last Jedi pretty much is self-explanatory. The Last Jedi was either going to be Rey or Luke. We see, like, Leia, or not Leia, but Luke, training Rey, even though that's not what happened in the movie. But with this is completely different. You see TIE Fighter hunting down Rey. She jumps over it like the Matrix or some shit. We see Kylo with a hot glue gun in his mask back together. We see Sand, a planet that looks like Kamino, or it's Octu. I don't know what that fucking planet is. You know, I see a lot of people doing Halo memes with it though, but so yeah, I don't know. Andrew S. writes, if Rey is Han and Leia's daughter, then why the fuck would they leave her stranded on Jakku? Very simple. Very, very simple. Because Kylo's 10 years older than her. Okay, so perhaps, and we don't know exactly, like, yeah, if you read Bloodline, you get more of an idea of the timeline. But what happened is something happened, and they had to hide her, and then they put her on Jakku. Don't you think it's kind of funny? As soon as she left Jakku, there's Han. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of ways to figure that out. Christopher with the super chat. After this movie, I won't see another episode for another 3 to 5 years. I heard. I hope that's not the case. No, that's not the case, my friend. After this movie, we're gonna get to Benioff and Benioff. Well, guys, I don't feel good. The Benioff and Wise trilogy. They start production, I believe, at the end of this year or early next year. As soon as Game of Thrones is over, they're starting production on it. So I'm thinking 2021, 2022. 2 years? I don't know. Probably 2022. Probably 2022. I think we're going to see the Benioff and Wise movie. 2022. I think Disney's scared right now. I don't think Disney realized how toxic the fan base can be, and they're kind of afraid what they're doing. You know, where Marvel kind of rise from the ashes, where no one really paid attention to it, and before we knew it was like the greatest cinematic television show on the big screen. You know, and I think Disney doesn't know what to really do yet. But we're gonna get the Disney Plus service, which is gonna have The Mandalorian. Which Sunday we're gonna get the panel for Mandalorian, which I'm excited for. We're going to get the Cassian show. There's rumor about the Obi-Wan show. We were going to get the Obi-Wan movie, but they're going to turn it into a mini-series from what we heard. So there might be a period where we don't have the movies, but let Benioff and Wise do their thing. These people are fucking brilliant. There's a reason why Game of Thrones is the most popular TV show of all time. There's a reason why come Sunday night, there's going to be millions of people glued to their TV. So let Benioff and Wise do whatever they have to do. If it takes them till 2022, then let them have to 2022. Because it's going to be good. It's going to be good, and it's going to be worth it. There's going to be plenty of Star Wars content. You're going to have all the Disney Plus service shows. We're going to have Clone Wars coming back. I really suggest do the audiobooks for Star Wars. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So there's going to be a lot of Star Wars content out there. So I'm not too worried about that. So Orange Generation 00, right? Have you ever watched the Clone Wars and Rebels? Feel like they made the movie so much better. There are rumors that Ahsoka and Ezra could be in this movie. That's not going to happen. I hope so. What about you? So I'm a big fan of Rebels. Clone Wars, I watched them all. Have to be honest with you, I'm up and down with Clone Wars. Some episodes are really good, some episodes are really bad, and I'm really up and down with it. I much prefer Rebels because we see these characters, we get to live with these characters, we get to live with Kanan, Hera, Sabine, and all these guys. Zero chance they're going to be in the movie. Zero chance. I remember 2 years ago when we seen Benicio del Toro with the 2 scars on the side. Oh, he's Ezra Bridger. He's Ezra Bridger. No, he's not Ezra. That's not going to happen whatsoever. And don't even go in with those expectations. Don't do that to yourself. Don't go in and start getting excited and then they don't do it and then you're going to be disappointed. Don't do that to yourself. I was going with something. But I do like one point that you made, Orange Generation 00, how you feel like Clone Wars and Rebels made the movies better. It's true. They do. If you watch it, you have more context of if you watched Attack of the Clones and watch all Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith means a little more. But what I think is funny is that I agree with your comment, and I do believe you're 100% right on it. But what I think is funny is people will say that, but if you say, hey, read this book, this movie will mean more to you, oh, I shouldn't have to read a book. Well, I shouldn't have to watch fucking 6 seasons of Clone Wars for Revenge of the Sith to feel better, to make more sense. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to watch Rebels for A New Hope and Rogue One to make more sense, you know. So I love how people use that as examples. But when I say, hey, read this comic, or hey, read Catalyst because it goes so well with Rogue One and you'll get to know these characters, oh, I shouldn't have to. Hey, read this Captain Phasma comic book because they explain how she gets off Starkiller Base. Oh, I shouldn't have to read a comic to make the movie. It should be in the movie. But yet, these are the same twinkle-toe cocksuckers that be like, oh, Clone Wars expanded so much on Anakin. It's so good, you have to watch it. Oh, so you're telling me to watch a 6-season series to make this connection better, but I tell you to read one fucking book, and that's too much work? So, the toxic fan are really two-faced and really, what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical. They're very hypocritical. They'll tell you to do something because they do it, but when you tell them to do something, and I gotta be honest with you, I love Jeremy Jahns. Love him. Watch all of his reviews. Met him at Star Wars Celebration. Cool guy and all that. But he did a Star Wars video about a year ago or something about why is General Hux just screaming like a loud kid? He doesn't make no sense. The First Order is not very threatening. You know, you look at the Empire and they're like calm and calculated, and then First Order is like run by a bunch of kids. Because they are, Jeremy. Yeah, if you read Chuck Wendig's Aftermath novel, they took a bunch of children from Jakku and they brought them into space in the Outer Rim, and Brendel Hux, General Hux's father, trained them. So they were a bunch of kids that weren't really trained in the Empire. And then they even explained in Force Awakens that they kidnapped kids and they ran them through programs. So yes, Brendel Hux and General Hux, which is Armitage Hux, is a whiny, sniveling little kid who was picked on as a kid. And his father picked on him and abused him. So I think it's funny how the novels explain so much, yet people are like, I shouldn't have to read the novels to make more context. It should be in the movie. But yet, these same twinkle-toe cocksucking assholes are going to be like, oh, well, I got so much out of Clone Wars. It's really expanded on Anakin. You know, so, like, really, guys? You hypocrite much? You know what I mean? We got a super chat coming in from Chris Warden. It's a good idea for Star Wars to go on a break after Episode 9. It's not like Marvel where you can bump out 2 movies a year. It needs to be special. I disagree with that 100%. I disagree with that 155 million %. I disagree with that. I think the problem is people look at Star Wars and feel like, oh, it has to be a once in a very spare time to make it special. Why? The problem isn't with Star Wars not being special. The problem is the way it's being done, the way it's being presented. Like why does it have to be a Star Wars story, Rogue One? That is the dumbest fucking title in the history of the world. It should have been Star Wars, Rogue One. Star Wars, a Star Wars story, Solo. Really? Why wasn't it called Star Wars, a Smuggler's Run, or Star Wars The Kessel Run, or Star Wars something? The problem is they're taking Star Wars and they're using Star Wars, the title, as this thing, where Marvel isn't doing Marvel Episode 1, Iron Man, Marvel Episode 12, Civil War. They're not doing that. It's Captain America, Civil War, Marvel Studios name above it. So why don't they do something like Lucasfilm presents, and then you do a random movie? The problem is Kathleen Kennedy's dumbass was like, we got to do a movie on all these nostalgia characters. No. You can do original stories. Now, what I think would be smart, and they're not going to do this, is after episode 9, take a character that you liked and expand upon that character. Let's say Finn. Finn's a popular character. It should be Lucasfilm presents Star Wars, Journey to the Outer Rim. And it's going to be about Rose and Finn. But you're not selling the movie on their name. You're not saying a Star Wars story of Finn. The movie has its own title because it's its own movie. And then you go out there and then that's that movie. And then do a movie on, Oscar Isaac. And then do another movie and try to bring Daisy Ridley back in, the Jedi, Star Wars, the Jedi Academy. And Star Wars has to get rid of the episodes. They have to get rid of the episodes. It's over with. It doesn't work no more. Okay? After episode 9, abandon the episodes. Do Star Wars, the Jedi Academy. And then have a new Jedi Academy being taught. And then build your characters through the Jedi Academy and then start spinning those characters off. And then you come up with this team-up movie. You need to make it episodic, but not calling it episodes. Stop with the episode 7. Stop with the episode 8. Stop with the episode 9. Don't do an episode 10. No. Look at Marvel's formula and do that. Do like a spinoff, like Star Wars, The Rise of the Jedi Academy. Do something of that. It can be done. So when you say you want to break that it's not special, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, look, you can do an episode 10, but you know what I mean? It's kind of weird to explain. It's weird to explain. We got a super chat coming in from Amran, who writes, in my opinion, Rogue One is the best of the new Star Wars movie. A lot of people say that. I love Rogue One. Love it. I didn't go see it in the theater a whole lot because same thing with Last Jedi. I love Last Jedi, but I think I only seen it like 7 times in theaters. Because I can't, Force Awakens I see so much time because it's fun and lighthearted and you're on this adventure. Where you watch Rogue One, it's a great movie, but it's very dialogue heavy and then everybody dies. And I don't know if I want to sit through something where everybody dies. I love Last Jedi, but it's very dialogue heavy, has a lot of themes and current of themes and stuff. So I didn't want to keep sitting through that. But a lot of people said Rogue One is their favorite of the new movies. I love Rogue One. Love it to death. Especially what I like to do is I read Catalyst, go see Rogue One. Oh, no, this is the way I like to do it. Read Catalyst, then read Rebel Rising, watch Rogue One, and then watch Episode 4. And, dude, you get so much character development with those characters. It goes so seamlessly in there, so yeah. So thank you for the super chat, Amran. What we got here? Sleazy Dog. Would you want a character from this trilogy to have his own Disney Plus character? I don't want everybody to have their own show. I don't want it to be like Oprah, where you get a show and you get a show and you get a show. I don't want all that. I just want I think they need Kevin Feige. They really do. They need Kevin Feige. Just come over and look, this is the game plan. Stick with this game plan. So that's what they need. I'm gonna take a few more questions. Then I'm gonna call it. I'm starting to. I'm starting to feel a little bad again, and I've been on for almost an hour, so you guys want to throw some questions? Danny Graham writes, do you think it would be good if they did a movie from the Sith point of view, maybe Darth Bane, the Rule 2? Well, if they do the Benioff and Wise Old Republic Trilogy, we might see that. So, but I think they need to get rid of the whole connecting these characters. Like movie about the characters is what I mean. We don't need a Yoda movie. We don't need a Boba Fett movie. We don't need a Django movie. We don't need a stuff like that. Just make movies. Just make movies. You have the most expansive universe. Do something with it. So I don't know. All right, guys, start firing questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm starting to feel kind of bad. Oh, Chris Warden with another super chat. In my opinion, people are too hard on the prequels. Not anymore. In the 90s, early 2000s, yeah, people were like, "Oh, it raped my childhood," blah blah blah. Now that generation's grown up, and everybody loved the prequels, and now it's like, "Oh, the sequels raped my childhood. This ain't my Star Wars," blah blah blah. So everybody bitches about everything. That's what I'm saying. People are like, "Oh, the fans are divided now," blah blah blah. Fans were divided back in '99 when fucking Phantom Menace came out. People were saying the same thing. So it's like it just constantly goes on and on. Fucking Star Wars, like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers was that fucking celebration, right? He gets there, he's showing pictures and shit, and then this motherfucker's bashing it. It's like, really, you're not. No, I don't care what you say. You're not a Star Wars fan at that point. You are not a Star Wars fan at that point, right? Like I said, you don't have to like the movies, but I'm pretty sure there's got to be something in there you like. Thank you so much, Chris Warden, for the super chat. I appreciate it. A couple more, and I'm gonna call it. Doshi Raw, please answer. How mad would you be if Ewoks return? I'm not a big fan of the Ewoks. I'm not gonna be mad. People that get mad over stuff are just fucking stupid, man. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Art Dog, yeah, I do have a problem if they rewrite everything from Last Jedi, because The Last Jedi was a movie about themes and had a lot of undergoing current and very important stuff, and for them to completely scrap that, I think is disrespectful, not just Rian Johnson, but the fans of that film. And you're taking all the character development that they got and completely erased it. So yeah, I definitely think I would have a problem with that. I really would. All right, guys. So I'm gonna call it. I'm starting to feel bad again. My head is starting to hurt. I want to thank everybody that came out for the live stream. I really wasn't expecting this many people coming out for a Star Wars stream. Usually, my Star Wars videos don't do that well on this channel, since it's mostly a comic book superhero movie channel. But thank you guys. I'm gonna be covering the rest of Celebration. Tomorrow is Fallen Order, which I can't wait for. Sunday is Mandalorian. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate it so much. Until next time, guys, as always, I am Robert Storms, and that's my opinion. Completely hit my mic because I'm a jackass. Later.